Chicago didn't want to miss out. So this is supposed to represent the big headgear that they'd wear during war in that time period. Also on your guys' right hand side are going to be two decks. There's a bottom deck and there's a top deck. And the bottom deck is Union Station here in Chicago, which is known to your Amtrak trains and your Metro trains, which is a great way to travel from the suburbs to the city, vice versa, or across America. Well, in the 1920s, this top deck did not exist. Just Union Station at the bottom. And they said, my goodness, we sit on some very valuable property. In fact, this property is so valuable, we would be foolish to leave it. So Union Station got creative. And they drew up a contract, and they sold that contract to the city of Chicago. Can you guys guess what they sold? Well, this is why we're not millionaires. They sold air to the city of Chicago for $1 million. Something you can't see, something that is not even obtainable, for $1 million. And Chicago loved it. They thought it was a great investment, which it was, because in the 30s they built this top deck, which now outlines some big, boxy buildings. Alright guys, you guys think you can handle this? Are you guys ready for this? Okay, well hold on to the seat of your pants because we're going to be making a U-turn in the water, and directly in front of you is going to be dun, 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 the tallest building in Chicago, in America, and at one time in the world. It stands over 1,451 feet tall, making it the one, the only, the Sears Tower. It was built in 1973, and there are 108 floors, but if you guys look to the very top, you'll see 4 glass boxes that protrude out of this building. Now, whoever told you you can't stand on air was lying, because now you can. These have recently been added, and it's called the Sky Deck. And if you guys get a chance to go to the observatory deck, which is on the 103rd floor, not even the 108th, you get a chance to actually step out onto these glass boxes, and it looks as if you're literally standing on top of our city. It is a great way to conquer a fear of heights. And it can move from left to right about 10 to 12 inches in the wind. So it's kind of like surfing. Well, from 1973 until 1996, this is actually the tallest building in the world, which is near and dear to Chicagoans' hearts. They have a lot of pride in this building, and why not? I mean, if we're claiming that for so long, when architecture is always revolutionizing and evolving, they deserve to have a lot of pride in this building. What do you say? Well, last summer, a man moved to Chicago, and he bought it, and he bought out its naming rights. And the Sears Tower has been officially renamed. And it has officially been renamed to the Willis Tower. And many Chicagoans said, "What you talking about, Willis?" And they had a lot of negative feedback. In fact, Mr. Willis heard it himself, and he told his mother. And his mother actually wrote a letter to the city of Chicago, and it said, "Dear Chicagoans, please be kind to my son because he loves this building just as much as the rest of you." So people have been more lenient. Some say Sears, some say Willis. Many Chicagoans prefer to say the Sears Tower. Also on your right hand side, we're quickly passing the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Center, and what goes on here is above my head. I don't really understand, because they sell things that don't actually exist. You can come here and buy pieces of the future, because they're a part of the stock market, and you can come and, I advise you to invest in some Chicago weather. Why not? I'm sure you make a lot of money. Also on your guys' right hand side is one of my favorite buildings to talk about here in Chicago. I love this building. If you see it sits like a king's throne, it has a very interesting backstory. This is called the Civic Opera Building, or as many joke, the Civic Opera Building. They didn't have spell check back then. Well, a man by the name of Samuel Insull was the second most powerful, dominant, prominent guy throughout the 20s and 30s here in Chicago. There